welcome.
Hi, I'm Tanya Smith. My first concern is that the entire board no longer approves the Park District's pesticide use reports. They are approved by the Ecology Committee only, and it has just 2 Park Board members on it. Therefore, we are here to put the pesticide use report in the public record to ensure that every board member knows how much pesticide is being used in the parks. My second concern is that the Ecology Committee meetings are no longer open to the public. We believe this violates California state law that requires public meetings to be open to the public. In June, we wrote to the General Counsel of the Park District to ask for some justification of why they were holding closed meetings. We've had no response. This board needs to make these meetings of the Ecology Committee open to the public. It's the right thing to do. Public meetings are about public park plans are not a private matter. Without transparency, where's the accountability? Without accountability, well, don't count on me for Measure CC.
Okay, thank you. Yes, let's do as this was done to speak and give us your name, please.
Tanya Smith.
Isis Farrell. I can't believe we're still talking about this. I really can't. Something should have changed latest in 2005 when some of us provided the district with toxicology for many of the pesticides used here. We have since also commented in detail on the dangers of these pesticides during various environmental impact reviews. After all these years, do you still not understand that you're playing with toxic chemicals whose sole purpose is to kill living organisms? The pesticide use report talks about how the massive increase of rodenticide was caused by the weather. But the weather didn't make the decision to use pesticides. The people who come before you made that decision, and you continue to make the decision not to stop it. You're responsible. You're accountable to the public, whose health you're endangering by allowing this to continue. I'm going to say it again. The sole purpose of pesticides is to make living things dead. You have been tasked with keeping this last bit of nature alive, but instead you're overseeing the spread of poisons. You're responsible, you're accountable to the public. We demand that you stop using pesticides in our parks and stop endangering the public.
Thank you. Next.
Martha Rossmore. Yes, I'm submitting today the Marin Municipal Water District Vegetation Management Plan.
Can you please move the mic closer?
As a result of which study, they decided not to use Garlon, triptychlorid, to deal with vegetation. There are a number of considerable risks that are outlined in the report. Based on animal studies, there are significant toxic effects to kidneys, liver, blood chemistry, and a separate study showed that there was statistically significant increase in mammary gland tumors of mice and rats. And potential environmental impacts to consider include the effects on mycorrhizomes, which mycorrhizal fungi help support oak trees, among others. And these chemicals, including the TCP, which is the metabolite degraded form of triptychlorid, killed a lot of the mycorrhizomes. It also had significant toxic effects on salmon, and it persisted in soil well beyond the period of application and then runoff. It's highly mobile in soils. I urge you to look at the report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for this opportunity. I've been wanting to come up here for a long time, but as someone who's trying to keep bees alive, I'm having a difficult time the last few years. But I wanted to share the taste of these 2 honeys. A couple of years ago, I lost a queen and wasn't able to get another queen in there until after all the flowers were gone. So this darker taste of honey that I'm going to leave out for you is only honeydew and eucalyptus. But that colony survived, and in the spring it gave me this beautiful light floral. My question, one of the things I wanted to alert you to is, even if you cut down trees, the bees will go to that cambium cut and get moistures and nutrition, and that is where they're putting the toxins. And this is not good for us. Speaking for the bees, it's not good for us as the humans. They are sentinel species and trying to teach us something.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll just put these over here, if I can. Please taste the dark one first.
I'm Terry Smith. I'm going to be reading from a letter by Carolyn Cox, who is a scientist and has been researching glyphosate for decades. She speaks about the recent observations of what glyphosate herbicides had been made by 14 preeminent U.S. scientists. Low-level exposures to glyphosate herbicides have caused kidney and liver damage in multiple studies. Studies of exposed people as well as lab animals have demonstrated an association between exposure to glyphosate herbicide and cancer, as reported by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. Evidence that glyphosate may cause birth defects and fertility problems is concerning and more studies are necessary. Glyphosate persists longer in soil and water than previously recognized. Glyphosate herbicides are more toxic than glyphosate alone, yet most risk assessments are based on studies of just glyphosate. The toxicology studies used in current assessments of glyphosate risk are out of date. I'd like to present her.
Okay, thank you. Could we have the next three names, please? We ask you to be lined up while your name is called. Okay, the next three. Okay, thank you. Welcome.
Hi, Mark Hall. So this year I got breast cancer. After my mastectomy, they gave me this fake breast, so I used it to make art. My shirt says pesticides, so many breasts, so little regulation. And I intended to talk about the failures of the regulatory framework to protect us, but I had to cut my time short, so I'll continue on. Give you a copy of this by email. Most breast cancers are estrogen positive. That means certain hormones cause breast cancer cells to grow faster. They're called xenoestrogens. Roundup and DDT are two. Daughters born of women who had high blood levels of DDT during pregnancy have a 4 times greater risk of getting breast cancer in middle age. This we learned just last month, 50 years after these women's exposure in utero. I ask you, what other biological time bombs work in the pesticides you use? You don't know because the regulations are so weak. Pesticides, once applied, don't stay put. They migrate into our bodies and our breasts. Like I said, so many breasts, so little regulation. I thank Rachel Carson, who sadly died from breast cancer after a fierce battle with the makers of DDT.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very Sunnis. In addition to the pesticide problem, there's a problem of the trees themselves. And while we're looking to cut down trees in the East Bay, thousands upon thousands are dying in the Sierras. And I think we need all our trees. We don't have enough trees anyway to save us, pick up our carbon dioxide as it is. I was there in the Southern Sierras. There's an article in the Chronicle this weekend about it. I was there at the end of June, and it's shocking to see brown everywhere and all the trees that are being cut down. We are losing trees dramatically because of the drought, and yet some people think it's good to cut trees in the East Bay. So I wanted to show you I have a picture of a park without trees, and it's just dead grass. That is not going to be an improvement in our place. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Charlene Woodcock. I live in Berkeley. In the face of escalating climate change, it is surely irresponsible to remove from the hills huge numbers of carbon-storing trees. The removal of what are being called non-native trees ignores the huge benefit these trees provide daily. It ignores consequent loss to the soil and to birds and other wildlife of the moisture provided by the trees dripping dew from their leaves down onto the ground. Loss of understory is habitat for a diversity of wildlife that suffers too if there are no trees above. The erosion prevention provided by tree roots and understory is another value these trees provide. Please reconsider the extreme plan to raise the trees on our East Bay hills and apply toxic herbicides to the regrowth. It does not serve our best interests and those of our children. The financial investment in huge quantities of herbicides and pesticides would be much better spent on educating residents to practice fire prevention, clear their yards of flammable materials, and take care in building fires. The pesticides, the glyphosate especially, threaten the health and brain development of children. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Jennifer Winograd, and I'm the founder of Save the East Bay Hills, an organization of local families working to stop the deforestation and poisoning of East Bay public lands, including that which is scheduled to occur in many of the parks overseen by your board. In this effort, I have taken the time to study many of the East Bay Regional Park District founding documents which lay out a beautiful, straightforward, and uncorrupted vision for our parks and the dual purpose those founders believe those parks should serve. First, to protect and preserve our forests and other public lands for posterity, and to provide protection for the wild animals who call those lands home. In one founding document from 1930 is a statement that reads, quote, "Special effort must be taken to promote and protect the wildlife in all its forms by not disturbing the natural cover," unquote. 8 decades later, the East Bay Regional Park District Board has betrayed this vision by not only adopting a plan to deliberately destroy thousands of acres of healthy forest and habitat vital to these animals' survival, but every year on average spreads more than 1,000 pounds of poisonous bait to deliberately kill them through slow and painful means. According to the 2015 pesticide use report, over the last 5 years alone, the East Bay Regional Park District has spread nearly 5,000 pounds of anticoagulant rodenticides in our public parks. And I just want to note, as none of the other speakers have, it has also spent 433 gallons of glyphosate, 193 gallons of garland, and 4,917 pounds, to be precise, of rodenticide. Please stop this madness.
Hi, my name is Ellen Pearson from Oakland. I need a few extra seconds. I'm learning disabled and I can't speak as fast as for a minute. I want to speak to you about the rodenticide that you're using in the East Bay Hills. When one animal is poisoned and another animal comes along and eats the first, the second animal dies too. Eating the bodies of dead poisoned animals, which is an easy food source, causes the second animal to bleed internally and uncontrollably. These unintended secondary victims die a slow, agonizing death. Their weakened systems also produces extreme emaciation, dehydration, and it can take weeks for the unintentionally poisoned animals to die. These secondary, unintentional, and heinous deaths are really unacceptable. Many species of wildlife, including some endangered species, are being unintentionally killed by these rodenticides. Coyotes, hawks, owls, foxes, mountain lions, birds, pet dogs, and cats are dying. By killing owls and hawks, we are removing nature's own rodent control system. These are our natural rodent controllers. Instead, you are poisoning them. The dying wildlife play many important roles, maintaining the balance of the interconnected natural environment that sustains us all. We implore you to follow the lead of other land managers and ban the use of poisons in our park. Thanks for the extra moment.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Susan Jenfish, and I represent Parents for a Safer Environment as its director. Our organization has been conducting in the past 14 years evaluation of pesticide use reports that are submitted by municipalities. And we have looked at the East Bay Regional Park District's pesticide use report. Very quickly, I want to thank staff for seizing the purchase of a Surfland, a product that contains oryzalin, which is a known human cancer-causing agent that was being used under picnic benches, at the base of trees, and fountains. However, we ask that you consider not finishing it up as standard protocol, but at least if you must use it, please do not place it where people, environment, and pets can be exposed. Also, I wanted to quickly, the purpose of my being here is to ask you, allow Parents for a Safer Environment to get on the agenda and provide us an hour to provide you with information such as to basically clarify adages like dose makes the poison, which is now passé and not accepted by toxicologists. Thank you. My background's in public health and environmental sciences.
Thank you, Susan.
Hi, I'm Bev Joe. I love the regional parks. I'm horrified at what's happening. We can see what, with the changes in Marin, where they've stopped pesticide spraying in the watershed and a lot of the open spaces with no problem at all. So you go there, you know you're not being exposed to what will cause chronic illness or cancer. I'm horrified by the responses I've gotten from East Bay Regional Parks representatives when I called to ask why the planned aerial spraying of Rionas, for instance, which is only on temporary hold. The answers I and friends were given were bizarre, like it's to help the bicyclists not have their tires punctured. It's so the Boy Scouts can camp. None of that makes sense, whether it be aerial spraying. Bicyclists can stay on trails and not run over small animals. Same with the cardoon, it didn't make sense. A friend said, why not use goats? They said it's too steep. If you look up anything online about goats going up mountain cliffs, it doesn't make any sense. At Rionas, they were spraying, Del Valle, they were spraying unmarked illegal containers right in front of us, pesticides. A lot more to say, but thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my name is Marla Schmalley, and I'm out in East Bay Parks for a couple of hours daily with my service dog, Sid. Sometimes I have a couple of other dogs who are also service dogs that work with young children but don't take them to school, and so I take them out for a little free time. I go there sometimes with my grandchildren. And I just want to say that we all go to the parks because it's a place that's fresh and beautiful, and we feel good about being there. We're away from a lot of the noise and pollution of the city, and it's very hard for the public to feel comfortable when we see spraying, when we know about these pesticides and things there. If the dog takes a lick of it in the water, if our children play in the creek, if they touch something, it's just not good. I really beg you to use absolute minimum of this sort of thing and to retain as many of the trees as possible. Thank you very much.
Who is your friend here in the front row?
This is Sid. This is my service dog of the last 5.5, 6 years.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Mary Fraser, and I'm here as the mother of 3 children. I've become very interested in the issue of pesticides, and I've become very well educated about children's health. And when I look at the issue of children and pesticides, what I find appalls me. The science is clear and indisputable. Pesticides harm children in very fundamental ways. I have with me copies of a publication for you. It's called A Generation in Jeopardy: How Pesticides Are Undermining Our Children's Health and Intelligence. This is a publication that's been put together by a group of scientists, the Pesticide Action Network. They're an international group. I'm going to leave copies with you. Let me say that again. How pesticides are undermining our children's health and intelligence. And when I look at the amount of pesticides that you place on your parks, I'm absolutely appalled. I'm from Marin County. We have gotten rid of pesticides in our parks. We've gotten rid of pesticides in our water district, and I'm asking you to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Barbara Bogart. Good afternoon. I'm also from Marin County, and I am here to tell you a bit about how we accomplished what we did, because we are sharing our information and tactics with everybody who wants to eliminate pesticide use. We worked grassroots organizing and action, and we made it a campaign issue. Somebody referred to what was happening at the Marin Water District. That's because we elected a water board member who ran on the platform of no pesticides in the watershed. And that he won, he shouldn't have, and we worked against the candidates who don't support elimination of use of pesticides. Our city parks, no more pesticides. Our medians, no more pesticides. We have schools, individual cities, public housing, a golf course. All of them do not use pesticides. We're a model that it can be done, and I can tell from seeing these people here that it will be done here too. Thank you.
Welcome.
I'm Stephanie Thomas, and I'm here to add comments on the importance of maintaining healthy soils in our parks. And these are our public lands. I've learned about this in the recent years, especially working in community gardens, and you see Giltrap, Albany, and Berkeley, and classes in master gardeners and so on. And I recently attended the Soil Not Oil Conference in Richmond, a city, by the way, that's banned glyphosate in its public parks. At the Soil Not Oil Conference, there were many good workshops. One of the books is this one, Hidden Half of Nature, The Microbial Roots of Life and Health. I could make a copy of the cover. I didn't have a chance before and did it to you. Another book that I got before, The Wild Wisdom of Weeds, and Katrina Blair, and she talks about what weeds give to us, nitrogen fixing, pollen for the bees, so on. I have some articles here I don't have time to talk about, but I'll leave with you. Importance of soil microbes and of soil health, and etc. I will leave that to you, and as I give this to you, I'll say that also some of us have met with John Huber, expert in glyphosate, and he showed us a slide. Who do I give this to? Showed a slide of animals that have been in Rocky Mountain parks that had spraying of glyphosate, and they lost the ability to chew. These are elk and deer.
Thank you, ma'am.
Chew their food.
Thank you.
Barbara Stone, please.
Members of the board, my name is Barbara Stuck. I'm a resident of Oakland, and I'm going to go back a little bit in time. In 1975, I was employed as a naturalist in an environmental ed program, and this program was, we taught 5th graders. They went to the mountains, they learned about nature, and standard part of the curriculum was reading the Lorax to the 5th graders. 1975. I went on to become a naturalist with the National Park Service, the National Forest Service, and I am now a very concerned citizen here, and I would like to do what these young people in 5th grade who are now over 50, I will follow what I taught them, which is I speak for the trees. Thank you. And I have one last rather rhetorical question. I wonder when any of you were up in the trees, because I'm on my way right now. I apologize for my clothes. Thank you very much, board members.
Okay, Barbara, thank you.
My name is Mary McAllister. The pesticide use report says that the Park District works closely with county agriculture departments on eradication of noxious weeds. In fact, California's weed management program was defunded in 2011. Alameda County Agriculture Department says that the county weed management program no longer exists. In other words, the Park District is spraying herbicides on non-native weeds on their own dime and their own initiative. It is long past time to declare a truce in the war on so-called invasive plants. The Park District has been attempting to eradicate these plants for decades. They will not succeed because non-natives are symptoms of change, not the cause of change. Killing them does not reverse the environmental changes, such as climate change, and so they return. This crusade must stop because we are poisoning our public parks. We are killing as many native plants as non-native plants with non-selective herbicides. We are damaging the soil with pesticides, making the return of native plants even less likely. We are eradicating plants that are needed by wildlife and are performing other vital ecological functions such as storing carbon. Thank you.
Thank you. That's 18 speakers, and thank you, and thank you for observing the 1 minute I gave a chance for all of you to speak. You're welcome to remain as long as you want, or to excuse yourself. And in terms of responding, the law cannot let us talk about something that's not on the agenda. But we listen to all of you and appreciate your politeness and observing our time with us. So thank you much for being here.
The law doesn't allow you to speak to what we just said.